Hi teachers, this video is for day 4 of week 5 of our unit Growing Stronger, and the purpose of the video is to talk through the different moments of the lesson and the overall goals for the students for today. And then where it's applicable, we will talk about some possible moments for differentiation or extra support for your diverse groups of students. Before we continue, just take a note, as usual in the slide deck, you're going to have below notes for teachers with your additional tips and suggestions of how to implement this lesson for today. But we will go through these moments together. Also, please note before you start today's lesson, day 4, it's really important that you have done from day 3, you have done the closing and connecting activity that is the connect to the project in the gray box, and that's the option where students read each other's essays or read a partner's essay. So if you have not done this from day 3, had the students read each other's essay, before you do day 4, try to find some time for students to do that. And if the students have read each other's essays, then you're ready to start for day 4. The purpose for day 4, just to make that connection, is for students to do a little bit of deeper work with reviewing each other's essays and giving feedback. So that being said, let's go ahead and start going through the different moments of the lesson. So again, this is day 4 and it's week 5 of Growing Stronger, and throughout this week the students have been building their thematic essays that are comparing multiple texts and the different lessons and themes that come out in the text. So as you have your introduction slide here, you can remind students of the essential question that's guiding their essay work, and then also just remind them or ask them to remind you if they feel ready to contribute, how they would describe the project that they're building, which is this thematic essay. Then below you'll have your lesson objectives. So as usual, whatever routine is working for your group of students, if it's you reading them out loud, if it's the students reading them out loud, just go ahead and go through the lesson objectives for today and add any clarification or explanation so the students really have a strong idea, again, what they're working towards and what the purpose of all of their learning tasks are for the day. So once you have your introduction slide, you can continue to the review, and the review is going to have them think back to, again, the end of day 3 when they did the closing and connecting, looking at each other's essays. So on this slide, they're going to be using the checklist here, and they can go through the partner's work and see if the partner included these different components. These are really mechanics of punctuation, capitalization, grammar, spelling, that kind of thing. So just a moment where they can go back and look closely at each other's work, continuing what happened at the end of day 3. And you could have them do this on a slide. You could adapt this for a separate document, but just have some space where students can use this as a checklist. So that's the review activity. And then as you move forward, you're going to have the setup slide, which is going to outline for you the different steps for today's work. So you're going to go through these steps with the students so they get a sense of what the flow is. So again, the first step is for the students to review the partner's writing, and then they have 3 kind of guiding questions for this review. So you could also do a deeper dive into those if that's helpful. What claim is your partner attempting to prove in the essay? And did they include sufficient evidence from at least 2 texts? And did they organize their writing into well-structured paragraphs? So claims, evidence, and organization are kind of the 3 things guiding their partner review today. You can also clarify for them on this page that they'll include suggestions for their partner, not just saying yes they did, no they did not, but have feedback and revision suggestions for the person that they're working with. And then the final step here is that they're going to be actually taking their partner's feedback to them and then revising, changing, polishing their writing for their essay. And then below you'll have the set the purpose in the orange box, and to just go through this with students before they begin the peer review process, with an emphasis on the idea that reviewing each other's work doesn't just help your partner, but it also helps yourself as a writer to understand the different techniques and the different strategies that you can use to make your writing clear and strong and powerful. So that's the setup page, where again you're just kind of setting the stage for students so they have a map of what they're doing today. And then you come to this slide, which is going to have the guide for their feedback. and their review of each other's work. So again, you have on this column the 3 questions that focus their review. The first one about claim, the second about evidence, and the third about organization. And then in this next step on this column, you're actually going to ask them to copy and paste whatever element from their partner's writing connects to this question. So if they are reporting back on if the partner has a claim, a clear claim, then they would copy and paste that claim from their partner's work into this organizer. And then on the third column here is a list of suggested revisions. So this kind of gives them a guide for their own feedback work. If your partner is not fully there with these components, then here's what you could say to them. Here's the feedback you could give them so that they understand their next steps. So it's kind of guiding the students to give guidance. One thing you could do that could be helpful for students with this organizer, if you wanted a different version, just to kind of make clear for them the flow, right? That this is really the first step is to focus in on the question here. The second step is to find the evidence from the writing. And then the third step is to do the suggested revisions. And you could also model this extensively with this organizer, have a sample essay in front of you and show them, here's the different steps I would do. You could also come out of presentation mode. You could show them the copy and paste of the different feedback or highlighting it on the organizer, just whichever way is going to make sense for them to exchange feedback and revision suggestions. So anything, again, with collaborative group work, such as today's session, it's really helpful to front load a lot of those expectations for discussion with students. So going through with them, you're working with a partner and here is what the expectation is for you all to be collaborating effectively. I find it helpful sometimes to model with a student volunteer, can show them what that conversation would look like. Also, as we're using the organizer, here are the moments I could pull the organizer out, show my partner, right? Or if you're doing it virtually, here's how I can show them in a breakout room or whatever structure that you're using. But it is really imperative that before they begin working together, that you're very, very clear, explicit with the students about what collaborative work looks like. And also maybe you could give them opportunities beyond you modeling, the opportunities to practice for you to give them feedback on their peer discussions. And then finally, you'll have your closing and connecting activity. And it's really important for this one to do the connect to the project activity, which is thinking back about if they provided suggestions and then if their partner also provided suggestions to them and for them to reflect, okay, based on my partner's suggestions, what am I going to do? What revisions will I make? So for the closing and connecting, this is a day where they should be doing a very specific one, which is the connect to the project. So hopefully this video has been helpful to kind of take you through the flow of the lesson, point out any moments where you can add additional supports. Okay, so good luck with day 4, and we'll see you for day 5 of week 5.